All of us know that our generation of the internet and social media has created an interconnectedness amongst all human beings that has never been before since the beginning of time. At the click of a button, millions, if not billions of people can be connected and their lives intertwined, for good and for bad. I want to share a story which happened in our community after Purim, a tragic story which highlights how careful we have to be with what we say before we say it and when we post it. A young man of 23 passed away of a heart attack a few hours after Purim. Of course, what was being said on social media, he must have had something to drink, mixed drinks. The next minute, people, based on that assumption, were attacking the establishment, attacking rabbis and educators for tolerating the scourge, all in the back of a young boy, a young man who had recently been married, who had passed away. Turns out, it was a heart attack. Doctors, paramedics have validated it. His friends themselves validated that he hardly had anything to drink. On the contrary, he said he didn't want to drink at the Suda that much because he wanted to learn Torah through the night. He was actually turned out to be an unbelievable tzaddik with many stories about him. Yet his family had to deal with insult to injury, that not only died, but he died under circumstances which were questionable and caused so much lashon hara and even motzi shemra being spread. We have to be so careful. That, as I spoke about last week, is exactly what this parasha and last week is about. We all know that sarat, as I said last week, Chazal say, stems from the spiritual impediment of lashon hara and motzi shemra, not being careful with what we say. And that's why the tikkun, the rectification, the consequence, the only one amongst all contaminated people, is that the person who spoke who has leprosy has to be removed totally from the camp, not only from the temple and the Mishkan like others, not only from amongst the Levium. It's the only contamination that a person is in spiritual quarantine, in isolation, like a hardened criminal, so to speak, spending a week or two alone, separated from society, because the Talmud Masechet Erchin says the one who caused so much disunity between husband and wife, broke the family fabric, and between ish v're'ehu, between friends, broke the societal fabric, has to be isolated. How true that is today. We have to be so careful. One word, one sentence, jump into a conclusion without looking into it can cause so much destruction. Indeed, in conclusion, in the beginning of this week's parsha, part of the process of purification for the Metzora is bringing birds, shnei turim. The rabbis say, wow, what have birds got to do with it? Because they say birds chirp, they chirpers, and the chirping of the birds remind us that people chirp, chirp, chirp without thinking. Whenever we open our mouths, we have to think, and especially in today's day and age, when we open our mouths in order to share, to like or to share something in social media, which can often never be brought back. We have to be careful and be extra careful in ways that we haven't had the responsibility before. Silence sometimes is golden. Think before we act. Think before we push the send button. Shabbat Shalom.